Hey, GW coming to you live. New location. We just chilling out here in the parking lot. My wife went to get her nails done. But I wanted to tell you guys about something that happened to me at work today. Well, not to me, but I was around when it happened, so I should rephrase that. You guys remember Josh I told you about. He's the kid with cerebral palsy that I've been working with. Well, the doctors told him that he would never be able to tie a trash bag or do normal things with his hands that like you and I could do every day. Well, today those doctors were proven wrong. In fact, Josh was proven wrong himself because he always believed he couldn't do something. So today I grabbed a trash bag and I showed him how to tie a knot in a trash bag, and he said, "I don't know how to do this." I said, "Josh, watch me." And I showed him. I went over the steps. I pulled two sides together, looped one around the other side, pulled it tight, and I said, "Do that again, and you have yourself a pretty good knot." Well, he was a little bit slow, but I showed him how to do it, and you know what? The boy did it. And I know parents can relate to this. When your kid does something phenomenal or accomplishes something, incredible, to you it's every day, it's an everyday thing, but to them it's the world. And that's what happened to Josh. He got lit up and he had an adrenaline rush from tying a garbage bag. And I've never seen anybody so happy before. Except maybe, a little kid on Christmas. You give them what they always wanted, they go run crazy with it. But and for the rest of the day, don't you know that every garbage bag that we had, Josh went ahead and tied it. And the more I watched him tie the garbage bags, the more I was proud of him. And unless you work with people like that, you don't know what people's restrictions are. You know what I mean? You don't know. They always believe that they can't do something. But then when they turn around and they find out they can, it's amazing. And he tied every trash bag and he got better and better every time. And I just wanted to share that with you guys because there are a few people in the audience that know Josh, that know what Josh is like. Casey, Peyton, Dawn, my wife Dawn knows him. And that was amazing to me, and it was more amazing for me to sit back and watch Josh overcome these things that people have told him he can't do. And he pulled me aside and he said, "My doctor said I'd never be able to do this." And I said, "Josh, you just proved the entire medical field wrong." Now, from what I understand, CP, cerebral palsy, affects different parts of the nervous system. In Josh's case, his hands, and his balance. And he's not good with his hands, but when I showed him how to do that, it's like he didn't even give one thought about the stuff in his hands. I mean, he just went for it, and he did it. And unless you see something like that, the impact, you don't really know the impact of it. But I mean, he was acing that, you guys, and it was a real proud moment for me. And he's going to go home. He told me he's not even going to sleep tonight because he just accomplished something that people told him he could never do. So I wanted to share that with you guys and give Josh a big shout out. And Josh, I know you're probably going to watch this at some point. Dude, I am very proud of you. You kicked ass today, brother. You did. And I'm glad that you were able to do what you thought you could never do. So I wanted to address that real quick. And the second thing I wanted to address was the Bruce Willis deal. I guess I'm going to just dive into this. It came out about a week ago that Bruce Willis retired from acting because he can no longer speak. He has a deadly disease, aphasia. I think I said that right. And it really sucks. It sucks the fact that, this disease does that to it affects people like that. There's no cure for it. There's probably treatment, but I guess there's no cure. That's what I heard. But I'm sitting there and it takes me back to when I was a little kid. You know, Bruce Willis was a hell of a great actor, and he's done so many cool movies. All the Die Hard movies, The Fifth Element. You know, he was in Pulp Fiction. He was in Tears of the Sun. He was in the very trippy, very controversial, very underrated movie, The Fifth Element, with Chris Tucker and Mila Jovovich, and a lot of people forget that. He was in Armageddon. That movie, to this day, my wife can't watch because it brings her to tears. Bruce Willis was also in Moonlighting. A lot of people forget about that. You know. He was also in that comedy movie Blind Date. A lot of people forget about that movie too. Bruce was and is one of the greatest actors of our generation. I myself first saw him, you know, he was in Moonlighting. My parents used to watch that. I remember watching that a little bit, you know, whenever I was a little tot, you know. But I grew up with him. He's an actor of our generation, somebody that's well known, you know, especially because, like I said, the Die Hard films. Now, I want to touch on that just a tad, because I know a lot of people don't know this. After Die Hard 4, that's the one where the dude made all the lights and the signs in the city go nuts, and he was doing a fire sale of the whole place. You guys remember that? Kevin Smith was in that one. I needed to protect the kid. But they were actually going to do another one. It was going to be him and Ben Affleck, and they were going to be kidnapped and dropped in the desert without the special effects, without the storyline. They were going to get out of it, and they were going to change the formula on it. It had no working title, but it was going to be a Die Hard movie. Now, the other thing that I have read was that they were going to make a movie that went into present but flashed back to McClane as a young cop. Now, that would have been interesting, but scripts and directors and everything and the storyline didn't hold up, and they weren't able to film it, and then they just basically canceled the project. But he was phenomenal in Pulp Fiction. If you guys saw that the second story with Butch Coolidge and Ving Rhames playing Marcellus Wallace, where he killed the boxer. He was supposed to take a dive to the boxer, and he killed the boxer. That was phenomenal. That story was probably the best of all three stories in that movie, and that's one of my favorites. Even in that story, the little story about the pocket watch, how it was passed down from generation to generation, was raunchy yet interesting. You know, and The Fifth Element was just a great film. Mercury Rising, that's another one. You know, a lot of people don't realize Bruce Willis was in it, where he had to protect an autistic kid. Oh, speaking of Bruce Willis and kids, did y'all know The Sixth Sense? That put him on the map for a whole new audience, I'm telling you. That was an incredible film, and you either thought it was brilliant or very stupid. So it really does suck that Bruce Willis is not going to make any good movies, because I was actually looking forward to a new Die Hard, you know, but I guess we're not going to see that, so I guess we can only wish Bruce the best of luck with his current condition and look at his body work. Oh, there was another Bruce Willis movie. Him and Demi Moore was in it. Oh, what the hell was the name of that movie? He played an abusive husband. And then, like, Demi Moore and her friend in the movie, they kill him. And they bury the body. And I can't remember what the heck the name was. But it was really good because he played a psycho ex-husband. Oh, he was also in 12 Monkeys with Brad Pitt. You know, the Terry Gilliam thing. That thing was trippy. And they also made a TV show that didn't last too long. But that was another good movie that you had to pay attention to. And that was the thing with Bruce's acting. He threw himself into any role. didn't care. I mean, he threw himself into stuff to say, hey, I can do it. And he's one of my favorite actors. And I am going to miss his movies. I'm going to miss his screen presence. But he has an extraordinary body of work, guys. So you can go back and you can take your pick of the Bruce Willis library, Oh, he was also in Hudson Hawk. Now, I caught that film on HBO. That film was not really critically received. It was supposed to be a comedy. He was an art thief, the best in the business. And it was like Sylvester Stallone doing a comedy. You're so used to seeing him guns blazing that the minute he tries to make you laugh, the formula doesn't work. So it's a really sad thing with him. And I hope to God that he can overcome this, or at least get the help he needs. And it really does suck, because like I said, I'm a big fan of him. My wife too. But he has given us so many memorable movies that you feel like he's still there. And especially these more critically acclaimed movies like The Sixth Sense, like I said, in Pulp Fiction, that won countless awards at the Sundance Film Festival, the Palme d'Or. It won that thing, partially because Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis was always cool. You never heard of him getting in any trouble. The guy had a little bit of an alcohol addiction, but I could see that. He's married to Demi Moore, who went on to do Striptease and Indecent Proposal and a few other ones, and fell off the face of the earth. I wish Mortal Thoughts, that was the name of that movie with Bruce Willis, where he played the psycho husband, and that film was awesome. Mortal Thoughts, guys, check that one out. If I'm wrong, call me out on it. I know I have a copy at the house. It's a very good movie, very underrated movie. Caught it on Cinemax. But yeah, he has done tons of movies, but it's a sad thing. They said this disease, hits one in every, couple of billion people or something like that. I don't know. But the disease itself is actually a very debilitating, crippling, and it sucks. But, and then I wanted to address this, I already talked about the slap with Chris Rock and Will Smith, which is still, people on YouTube are mixing that with songs, and it's pretty hilarious. So if you guys want to check that out, check it out. Also, like I said, we're sitting in here in Butler. My wife's going to get her nails done. They closed down the King's restaurant. That's not too far from here. They also closed down the one in Grove City, I believe, or Slippery Rock. I can't remember where. But yeah, they closed the place down, And it's a sign of the times. I mean, things are disappearing. Things that we hold dear to our childhood, or we've been there. My grandma went to King's. My grandma, Pauline, she went to King's. And I remember when she was alive, we went there a few times, and she'd always get liver and onions. And I don't know how she ate that, but that's how Grandma rolled, King's was her favorite restaurant. And I remember the ice cream sundaes. Things were gigantic. You couldn't wait to get through your meal to get one of them, So, again, times are changing. Things are just rolling on. I just wanted to share that about Josh with you guys, because I know that, like I said, some people in my viewing audience know Josh. And Josh, he's not shy about telling you what his weaknesses are. But, somehow he loves me, and I get him to do things he doesn't think he can do. And I was just real proud of him. And I wanted to address the Bruce Willis thing, because it saddens me, and it saddens a lot of other people, so I just wanted to drop a line. I'll be back on this weekend with something, All right, I will talk to y'all later. Peace.